Alrighty, what's going on everybody? My name is Blitzwinger and it is time to discuss some PlayStation goodness. I've got my notes, of course the PlayStation 4, or I guess initially it was titled the PlayStation event, just concluded. And my goodness, Sony, 2 hours? No one expected that. That was awesome though. We got a ton of stuff, a ton of information. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Well, I guess the Wii U did introduce us to the new generation, but a lot of people did not look at it this way. So welcome to the new official generation, I guess, of console gaming. The good news, holiday 2013 is when the PlayStation 4 will be launching, so the rumors of November is really good, so start saving up your money because it's most likely going to run you a pretty penny. But let's get into the kind of news and everything. I took notes and such. Let's get into what we found out. Let's get rolling. So I'm not going to be discussing a lot of the techie stuff. In fact, I feel like they kind of showed a little bit, like spent a little too much time in the presentation on the techie stuff. Especially, they were showcasing a lot of really cool interface stuff on the PlayStation 4, like how it's going to work and everything. But I think that what they were trying to show is much more hands-on experience. Like I think it doesn't work well in a press conference or a conference or a presentation format. I think that people need to get their hands on it, and then they will be able to judge it in a much more fair way and really experience it. That being said, it looked really cool. The interface of the PlayStation 4 looks neat. It looks to be adapting a lot kind of from the Windows 8 design, you know, with a lot of the boxes and such, kind of almost like a gridlock pattern where you would just pick boxes in terms of what it is. But I mean, it looks to be neat. Again, it's one of those things that no matter how it looks, we need some hands-on time in order to really realize if it's cool or not. So some other things that are keynotes and on the tech specky side, I'm not going to focus on that a lot, don't worry. I only have about, I think, like a quarter of the page on tech stuff. The cool thing is that it's now going to be very PC friendly. So for example, if you know, a lot of multi-platform games like Skyrim, especially Skyrim, suffered on the PS3. The PS3 version were of many platform, or a lot of many, that makes sense, of many multi-platform games really suffered because of the fact that it wasn't very PC friendly, meaning developers who were making their games, of course, on PCs were unable to export it and had a hard time kind of working with the PlayStation system and the architecture of it. Now, Sony looked at that and looked at the success that Microsoft had with the Xbox 360, where it was the opposite. It was pretty much just a powered-up PC. So what Sony's going to be doing with the PS4 is supercharged PC. I don't know what the heck that means, what the word supercharged means. I'm not that techie, but it sounds cool. I'm sold on that. They showed off, they brought out a guy who was, I guess, the director on Japan Studios, and he really kind of ran the entire strategy and kind of the business model with Sony, and they're really pushing the idea of being very developer friendly. And that was a little bit of a concern for me initially, because I thought there's a little too much focus on the developers in the conference instead of us, the consumers and the gamers. But then they started to shift towards, if we make the developers happy, they'll be able to make the experiences for us that will be really, really enjoyable. So I really liked that. At first I had some concern, then they shifted it, and I was concern-free, I guess, and worry-free. Also, this guy introduced a game that he's working on, which is Knack, K-N-A-C-K, and it's basically kind of, I don't know, it really reminded me of a Skylander type, like, I don't know, I just got a Skylander vibe off of it. It had some really great music to it, honestly, and the animation was really great. It was almost like a DreamWorks type. It wasn't Pixar, but it had a very DreamWorks feel to it. I don't know if that was just me, but it looked basically kind of like a very simple beat-em-up, and definitely in that sense a cool little PlayStation. I assume that it's an exclusive because I mean, it's by Sony Japan Studios, so I assume that it's going to be an exclusive PS4 title. And the other thing that they showcased is that PS4 games, or at least they said a long-term goal of ours is to allow all PS4 games to stream on the Vita. So basically that's another thing that they're really going to be pushing through their the service that they bought, titled or known as Gaikai, which was a streaming service. They're going to be really pushing the idea of you know, a lot of streaming content and things like that. A lot of basically how he explained it was that the PlayStation is going to act like a server, and then the PS Vita is then going to be acting like a client. So basically the interface within the two is going to be very quick. The only concern I have is that PS4 being a next generation console, I really hope that the graphics don't get dumbed down to fit the Vita versions, you know what I mean? Because no matter what, the Vita cannot be as powerful as the PS4. That, first of all, if it is, that doesn't look good for the PS4. I mean, it looks good for the PS Vita, but it doesn't look good for the PS4. So I think that that's going to be a very interesting way to see how they're going to approach that whole thing of transitioning the two models to fit with one another. I'm not sure if they can pull it off, but good luck to them, basically. The other thing that they promoted, the system is going to be, or if you want, can be always on. So the idea is that if you're playing a game, you just pause, put it into the kind of like energy saving mode, and walk away. You don't have to turn off the system. You come back on, press the button, and you're back in the game. I really like that idea. I really just hope that in terms of energy saving mode, whatever it may be, I hope that it's more like sleep mode for a computer where it really is energy efficient and we're not just wasting electricity and the electricity bills go way up as a result of this. The other thing that they were really pushing throughout the whole thing was this idea of download anytime, which basically means that you can now, as you're downloading a game, you can download the first bit of it, which is really cool, and as you're playing, you can start playing right away, so you don't have to load the whole thing. You're playing and it's downloading basically at the same time. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to be dependent on your internet connection or Sony's kind of like the actual Gaikai system, how fast it's going to be able to let the servers work and everything. But I just hope that it's not going to be one of those things that is limited by on kind of the dependency of your internet connection as a consumer, because then it kind of damages your experience if you have a lower internet connection that doesn't fit with this particular service. So that was very cool as well. They promoted the idea of kind of, like I wrote it down as a Twitch-like system, basically allowing you to share things. So basically you can share video clips and basically going off the whole big boom and popularity of what we do, which is gameplay commentaries. So you're going to be able to share moments with everyone. Basically you have a share button on the new DualShock 4 where you will be able to hit it, and then it will allow you to right away share whatever chunk of footage that you would like to do to share with the world. The only thing is they showed that you could share it on your Facebook and you could share it on your I believe Ustream account. They didn't talk about YouTube. I hope that YouTube is going to become a supported platform for that feature, because otherwise, I mean, I'm not sure if that's really smart, and they really did not talk about the length of time that you could be able to share, but it's definitely a cool feature to have. So I'm going to be done with all the techie stuff. Let's get to some games, okay? We talked about a bit of games, but now let's get to the big ones. So first off, we've got Killzone Shadowfall, which is basically the next Killzone game. It looked very cool. The only concern for me, of course, with the last Killzone, or sorry, not the last one, Killzone 2, if you remember that whole debacle with the trailer being basically fake. And there was a bit of a concern too, because at the end of the trailer, they went to the screen where it said upload video, and I was like, what the hell? Was that all a video again? But then I realized that it was basically him hitting the share button and showing that feature. So it almost came off like they messed up again and they showed that it's a video. But it looks really cool. I liked, I wrote a couple of things down. First of all, really cool guns. I really loved the technology that they were trying to show. It looked like very unique weapons, at least of the ones that they showed. It definitely has a bit of a COD feel in terms of being very grandiose, a little less Killzone-y, a little more Call of Duty it seemed like to me, and I really like the non-linear approach that you could take because as he was showing the live demo, he was able to like go around the enemies and things like that. I really love that in first-person shooters, especially in single-player campaign modes, where you're not just playing a tunnel vision mode, but you have these cool pieces kind of interacting between like they basically had a Call of Duty type of scenarios, you know, where in Call of Duty you have a big explosion or something connecting bits where you play. But here, the bits that you play are much less linear, allowing you for a much more creative experience. At least in my mind, I really like that. So that was the announcement from Guerrilla Games. Sorry that I did not mention that. I forgot which studio is working on this one, but I believe it was just a Sony one of their Sony development houses, and it's going to be a first-person driving game. I'm not a big fan of driving games, but this one looks kind of cool. I think that they probably could not get a Project Gotham Racing going, that this is kind of their second tier thing, and this is going to be known as Drive Club, and it looks cool. I think for people who love driving games and overall car games and racing games and things like that are going to really enjoy this, because it does look cool. It gives you a very interactive experience, being able to share with your friends. It's kind of like Facebook for driving games. It looks really cool, especially if you're a fan of racing games, so that's cool. Then my favorite announcement of the night was from Sucker Punch. They're making Infamous Second Son, and I'm a huge fan of the Infamous franchise. I really love those games. I think that they're fantastic, really fun open world experiences. And this looks to be, at first I even wrote down, like when it started, I wrote prototype-esque, because it felt very prototypey. Like the trailer felt more prototypey than Infamous, and I was like, this is Sucker Punch, they make Infamous, how is this possible? But then basically they're kind of, I guess, with the idea of Second Son. I'm not sure what they're trying to infer here. Is this going to be like Cole McGrath's son or something? I'm not sure, but it looks cool. He's got a much more different kind of power. He's got like almost fire and these chains and things like that. So gonna be really cool. I'm just excited. Another Infamous game is coming, and it's coming to the PS4 as an exclusive, so that's awesome. Another game that they showed, which was from the creators of Braid. I believe the guy's name is Jonathan Blow. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But basically his game is The Witness. And it looks like a really cool puzzle game. It's, first of all, it's first person, which I found to be cool, because very few puzzle games work in first person, in my opinion. I mean, some that jump to mind are, of course, the Portal series, Quantum Conundrum, things like that, but very few games can pull it off, and it's really interesting. I mean, of course, the guy behind Braid, he's very smart and very creative, so I don't mind that. But the idea about this whole thing is that he was pushing the idea of epiphany. So basically how, you know, that you have that one moment in puzzle games where you're like, oh, when you figure out a puzzle, and after you see it, you're like, how could I not see it out before? Which is basically what he was saying. And I really love that idea. It was like he really simplified puzzle games down to their very basics and stripped down all the crap and basically said, hey, why don't we just rinse and repeat this process down here, which is at the core of every puzzle game experience that exists. And the other thing that I really love that he emphasized, basically in the trailer that they showed, the only thing that I was a little bit concerned by is that it seemed like there's going to be a lot of redundancy. It's basically kind of like these puzzly bits where you have to like follow, it's almost like snake-like. There are patterns, and you would have kind of almost like a maze, and you have to make your way through. But then it got a little more diverse as the trailer kept going. I just hope that there's going to be a little bit more depth to it, and it's not just that particular style of puzzle. But the cool thing is when the trailer zoomed out at the very end, it showed you that you're basically going to be on an island. So it's an open world puzzle game, but as he said, what they're trying to promote, instead of giving you the possibility and the grandeur of traveling everywhere and seeing a whole bunch of different things, you're only on one small world, and there's things to do everywhere you look around. In fact, he even said that you're always at least 20 seconds away from a puzzle or another challenge or something else to interact with. So I really like that, because oftentimes open world games kind of almost are a little like tough to take in, because there's just so much stuff going on, and you're like, where do I grasp, what do I do? So I really like that they're taking that very kind of epic concept and bringing it down to simplify it and make it very interactive. So it looks really cool, and I'm really looking forward to it. This is not an exclusive title, but it will debut on the PS4 from what I understand first. So that's cool. After that, basically they had a bunch of different kind of like third-party developers come out and basically talk about the possibilities of the PlayStation 4. They did not show any titles, unfortunately. I mean, we saw Watch Dogs and things like that, which I'll get to in just a moment. But first off, we had David Cage come out when he showed Quantic Dreams, basically their new tech. And this was literally just a kind of tech demo, and it looked fantastic. My mom was walking by, like I was watching it on my monitor, and she was like, what is that? That's video games? And I was like, yep, that's video games. That's where we're headed. So it looked really fantastic, and I cannot wait to see that implemented on the next generation of consoles to really make the gameplay experience is even more immersive and even more fun. Then we were a little bit taken out of it by Media Molecule, who really had a little bit of the weakest showing of the night, and they really came out and basically did the idea. They did a move game, and they said basically that their game, the idea behind the game is that to make your dreams come true. That's a very ambitious thing to say, but when they started showing it, some stuff was really cool. Like that, they showed like this tech demo of them being able to use the move to sculpt like clay figures, and that looked really neat. I was like, that could be very greatly like applicable to artists and people who just want to use the PS4 for artistic reasoning, and you could make really cool designs with that. I'm sure some people are going to make some immature videos as well, but it looked really cool, and I thought that it'd be really interesting to see with the new Eye that they showed, the PlayStation Eye, the depth. They said that the eye can measure the depth between you and the controller in the room. So I was thinking that's how the move is going to become very applicable to some cool things in the future. But I mean, this really showed you some possibilities, but it wasn't anything that really blew your mind away. Then they also went on to do this kind of almost like a Rock Band simulation thing, and doing this is not fun. So I don't know. At that point, it really took me out, and I was like, these guys, I don't see anything original. It could have been that it just came off bad on the presentation, but that's what it looked like. It looked like 4 people doing this and this. So I don't know. Capcom came out, showed their brand new engine known as the Panta Ray. Looks very beautiful, and they also showed their brand new game, new IP coming. Deep Down, it looked very kind of Dragon Dogma-esque. By the way, next generation, dragons are going to rule the world. It seems like there's a lot of developers are really dragon heavy now, probably after the success of Skyrim. But basically showed this demo for Deep Down. It looked very cool. Again, the graphics look fantastic. We didn't see any gameplay. I mean, like, it looked like there was in-game gameplay because the HUD was very cool, kind of like showing you in the bottom right and left corner what you currently have. Very oversimplified kind of. You're holding your weapon right now, you're holding a potion right now, whatever it may be. So it looked very simple, and I like that because sometimes if you can oversimplify things and make them very fun. Sorry about that, guys. Camera cut. I don't know why it stopped recording after a certain time. But they basically, what I was saying, of course, they came out and they said, and they brought out the Final Fantasy brand manager, and I was like, oh my god, they're going to show a Final Fantasy trailer for the next, for the PS4, it's going to be so cool. And then he just came out and said, oh, we're making Final Fantasy, wait for E3, thank you. And he just left. It was like, that's it? Okay. So I'm not sure if that really needed to happen even. I guess it's better than knowing that there's another Final Fantasy coming than not. But I would have loved to see at least something, like some character design or something. He literally came out, said, we're making another Final Fantasy, and said thank you, and left. So I'm not sure about that. Ubisoft, though, they brought a really cool demo of Watch Dogs. Now, Watch Dogs this time around really gave me the feeling of if Splinter Cell and Assassin's Creed had a baby, which makes sense because it's both Ubisoft franchises, it would make for Watch Dogs. It looks really cool. The possibilities of gameplay are really, really neat. Basically, you control the entire city. So you've got this new phone device that gives you the ability to access anything, learn information off of anyone and anything. So you could kind of like walk up, you see some person, you're like, whoa, I'd like to know what they are all about. And you could check out what it says about them. So they showed like a homeless guy, and it showed like ex-veteran, his name, and then it said income 0. And this woman dropped like a couple of quarters or something into, like, you know, his cup or something, and I would have thought it would have been like kind of clever to just show the income, like whatever, $1 or something. It would have been kind of funny to see. Not that homelessness is funny or anything. I don't want to get any hate there. But basically after that, what they showed was really neat. The idea is that you basically control the entire city from all of its aspects. So they've got your main hero running, and basically you stop a crime, and then after you stop a crime, the police actually begins to chase you. But as the police is chasing you, like he springs up these like roadblocks up as the cop car is coming, and basically as the roadblocks pump out, the cop car bumps into them, and it looked so cool. It was like, whoa! I just hope that it's not a quick time event, and it's one of those things that you can really literally control at any moment, because that would allow for some really, really fun and funny gameplay experiences. Then they also showed as he's trying to get away, he's running on rooftops, which really reminded me of Assassin's Creed in the style, kind of, you know, doing the whole parkour thing, but a little obviously more modernized for the times. As he's running, he stops the train, gets on the train, and then keeps the train going. So it's really cool. You basically control the entire environment around you. The only concern that I have is about mission and objective acquirement, because of the fact that the way that you get into the mission, it seemed like, was kind of like eavesdropping on certain people. I hope that it's not the case to where you just walk around and you kind of like listen in on people and you're like, oh, I'm going to help these guys. Or I hope that that was just like a submission, and then there's like an overarching storyline to where what is going on with these devices, who else has these devices, how did your hero get this particular device, etc. But the possibilities looked cool and the game looked beautiful. So it will be coming to the PS4. Of course, they announced that it was going to be on the PS3 and Xbox 360 as well, so I'm not sure how that's all going to work out, but hey, it's coming to the PS4, which is awesome. Next up, Blizzard came out, to the surprise of many people, including myself. I did not expect Blizzard to come out. By the way, the presenter for Blizzard was awesome. I really loved that he wasn't monotone like everyone else, and all the Japanese developers were also really just kind of like genuine and fun. They weren't like, alrighty, now, like the Gaikai guy, he read way too much. Like he was, alrighty, now we're going to be discussing the Sony this experience. It's like he came out and he just made some jokes and things like that, and he really lightened up the mood a little bit. So I really like that. And he basically announced that Diablo, or Blizzard and Sony, are partnering up, and now we're going to be bringing Diablo 3 to both the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4. Now I'm not sure if Diablo 3 has been approved for the Xbox 360, but if this is an exclusive title, that's definitely cool, and it has possibilities to, down the line, maybe Blizzard could develop some other cool stuff for the Sony brand. And finally, they closed out the night by bringing out Activision, and Activision, I don't remember the guy's name, whatever, the head honcho at Activision, and he basically talked about Destiny primarily, which is of course a Bungie game, and he talked about the idea of how, you know, Bungie has always, for many, many years, has been, well, to this point, it's always been on Microsoft, and we never got to play any of their games. If you're a PlayStation Nation user, which I love that, PlayStation Nation, I never knew that that existed, but that's cool. And he talked about basically bringing out Bungie, and they showed almost kind of taking a little bit of a poke at Xbox and Microsoft, you know, just like how the same had happened when Xbox brought out Metal Gear and said, hey, now Metal Gear is available on Xbox as well. So I really liked that. I thought that it was kind of cool, showing a little bit of competitiveness between the two, really saying, hey, we got one of your big guys, they're making games for us now too. So that was cool. They showed some cool gameplay as well. It really looks very similar to Halo. Of course it would look similar to Halo, but it's got a very Mass Effect feel to the environment. So I'm not sure. It looks cool though. I really love the character designs, and it's a very, very ambitious project for sure. So I'm really looking forward to see how it turns out, and I'm excited to see that now it's going to be available on the PlayStation 4, because I had a little bit of concern that it would be only an Xbox 360 and a PS3 title and coming out in 2014. That's a little bit pushing it, and I really am glad that now they have said that this will be a PlayStation 4 title as well, and I assume that it will be an Xbox 720 or whatever is the next Xbox iteration title will be. They also said that there's going to be exclusive content for the PlayStation, but I don't think that it's going to be anything substantial. I think it will be just one of those things that they make some exclusive content for the PlayStation and some exclusive content for the Xbox as well. But there you have it. That was basically how they rounded out the presentation. I was a little bit disappointed. I was sitting on the edge of my seat. I was like, please say Uncharted 4. Just show something. Just a title. That's all. That's all I need to see, is just where it says Uncharted 4. That's all. It would have been awesome if they could have ended the presentation in one of two ways. Really maybe kind of like he says, okay, well, thank you guys for coming. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. I forgot. Well, they did have this one other thing. And then they showed a teaser for Uncharted 4. Maybe just have Nathan just talk or something. I would have really loved to see that. That would have been fan-flippantastic. But they didn't go that route, and I think that I know why, because they really need to save some big hitters for E3, where they're really going to get some more media swarm and a media frenzy going. So they can't show everything to us right now. I think it would have made sense to show a teaser and then show something more extensive at E3, but now we're still looking forward to a lot of things from them at E3. But that being said, I think that this presentation did what it was supposed to do. It did get me excited. I was on the edge of my seat at many a times throughout the presentation, especially during Infamous. That was awesome. I can't wait for that. And overall, Sony did a really, really good job here. So now the ball is in Microsoft's court, and it's going to be up to them to see what they can bring out. A lot of people are saying that the rumored kind of Microsoft-esque event will be taking place in March, I believe. So that's going to be interesting to see what Microsoft how they fire back. And then, of course, what will happen at E3. I'm hoping and praying for an Uncharted 4 announcement, maybe Little Big Planet 3, something like that. But I'm going to go ahead and start busting out my piggy bank and saving up some cash for that PlayStation 4, because I'm definitely going to be picking that sucker up. But thanks a lot for watching this, guys. Let me know your opinions and thoughts in the comment section below. What did you think about the PlayStation event? Did you think that PlayStation delivered, or Sony delivered, or did you think that it was a miss? Was it a hit? Was it a miss? What did you like? What did you not like? What are you most excited about, and what are you hoping to see at E3? So let me know all those comments and opinions in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching this video, guys. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to not miss out on any future videos, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out, and see you later.